Hey everybody, welcome back to The Nature of Everything. I'm Bo, and as always, I've got Clint here with me, my lifelong friend, co-author of our book, and the occasional voice of reason.
But only the occasional voice. Don't hold me to any obligations. But you know what? What we are excited about is today we're here for episode 50. And you know what? I gotta be honest, it feels, I don't know, surreal. I don't know how it got here, but I can tell you, I'm grateful that we did.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Grateful. And you know what? Let's be real. We almost didn't record this one. I mean, honestly, life's been heavy lately. A lot of moving pieces and pressure and deadlines and real life stuff that unfortunately it just doesn't stop because you've got a podcast or a book out there. But we didn't want to skip this one because if there's ever been a time to talk about gratitude, I think it's when it's hard.
Yeah, gratitude when things are good, I mean, that is easy for the most part. Gratitude when everything feels like it's falling apart, that's a different set of work. And if Coin has taught us anything over the last 50 episodes and while writing the book, is that there's real growth. And that real growth isn't in the perfect moments. It really comes in those messy moments.
So before we get too deep, let's do this thing official-like.
Welcome to the Nature of Everything podcast with Bo and Clint, where we deep dive into the world of personal development through coin. Confirm it, own it, be intentional, and change the nature of everything.
All right, everybody. So we are back in today's episode 50. Not bragging.
Sort of bragging.
Sort of bragging.
Yeah.
It's all about gratitude. And not the Instagram kind, but the real kind. Not the just be thankful cliches and Pinterest quotes. We're talking about that grit level gratitude. The kind that you practice even when your shoulders are tired and even when you're not sure you're making any progress.
Absolutely. And you know what? Realistically, and always, that's where Coin really gets started, is in that hard moment to know that it's okay, that it's hard, and you have to confirm that. So if we're going to talk about gratitude, we've got to first admit that sometimes. I mean, realistically, it's hard to feel grateful sometimes. And that especially comes when life is throwing punches, like tough times at work, tough times at home, death in the family. Like that's, folks, that's what I've got today. I've got I've lost my grandmother today, and that's a tough punch.
And you know what? Before we even move on, we dedicate this podcast to G, our 50th episode. And you know what I think we both felt lately? It's been kind of a weird season. Like, it's professionally rewarding, but personally kind of heavy. And, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot to juggle, family and work and our purpose and the day-to-day grind and sometimes gratitude. And especially, Clint, like on a day like today, it can feel like a foreign language in those moments.
For sure. And look, it's kind of like, hey, life's on fire, but you know what? You tried to gratitude journal somehow. And how's that working out for you? Like, no thanks, right? But that's why confirming, this first step, confirmation, acknowledging reality without trying to sugarcoat it. Gratitude isn't pretending that everything's okay. You're absolutely saying, yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, it's tough. It's beating up on me. But you know what? I'm still here and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, gratitude doesn't erase any pain, but it gives it context. And when we confirm what's real, like, hey, I'm overwhelmed or I'm sad or I'm struggling to see the good right now. Like that honesty, it opens the door for gratitude to even exist.
Yeah, because realistically, fake gratitude is like toxic positivity. That's not gratitude. That's denial.
Nobody's ever said toxic positivity, I don't think. But, there can be. There honestly can be.
Sure. I mean, you just don't want to dress it up, right? Real gratitude says, this sucks, but, I still have agency in whatever. I still have people. And, it's kind of like today. My grandmother's gone, and that sucks. that hurts. That's a punch. But, you know, I have the gratitude of knowing how many years I had her in my life, and we're still moving on. And that's what she'd want us to do. She wants us to have she had a blast in life. She was always she was the person at the party. And you know what? She wouldn't want us to not be the next person at the party. So that's what we can be grateful for is to know, hey, we're still here and she wants us to be here. So we're going to do it. And we're going to be the party.
That's the thing, is that we can't just say that toxic positivity,
That's
toxic
right, sure.
gratitude. We have to own it.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking about this a lot lately. You know, how often, we can treat gratitude like it is a performance. Like, oh, I should be grateful, or I owe it to others to be thankful. But the truth is, you don't owe gratitude to the world. You owe it to yourself.
And it's so true because gratitude, it's not about obligation. To be grateful, it is about ownership. It's saying, hey, these are my circumstances. And they're mine to interpret, they're mine to own, they're mine to have. And I think that's hugely powerful because even when life isn't ideal, you can still own how you choose to engage with it.
Look, and that's been one of the biggest gifts of Coin for me. It's that ownership doesn't mean control. Owning your reality isn't about fixing it overnight. It's about saying, this is where I am, and I'm going to choose how I see it.
And it's like what we've talked about in the past, that the tree doesn't eat its own fruit. What I mean by that is you can pour yourself into work and family and relationships, and sometimes you don't get the applause or the recognition or the payoff that you're looking for. But ownership says, I'm still grateful that I can give. I still have skin in the game, and I want to be here. I'm choosing my role in this. You know what? Even if no one notices, even if you don't get the accolades or the acknowledgement, it's still saying, I own my role in this, and it's what I choose, and I'm grateful that I can be here and give what I have.
I think you nailed it because, really, gratitude isn't transactional. You don't need validation to justify having a spirit of gratitude. And when you own your gratitude, it becomes that quiet kind of power. This is where it gets tricky next, right? Be intentional. Because if you want to feel grateful, you'll be waiting a while.
Sure.
Gratitude isn't spontaneous. Maybe sometimes it is. But more than that, it's a practice.
It's like exercising. It's like doing a workout when you don't want to. Okay, you don't want to work out right now, but you do know that you always feel better afterwards. Much the same way as you practice gratitude intentionally, when you name 3 small things that you're grateful for instance, and this is during that time of chaos, like when work is crazy and everything's going nuts, middle of chaos. If you name those 3 things that you know that you're grateful for, I say that's not fluff. I say that's not dressing it up, and I don't think it's toxic positivity. I think you're giving yourself the opportunity to truly practice gratitude in that courageous way.
For me lately, it's been some simple things. Letting my brain tell me some funny joke or see something weird and get a laugh. Like my own brain feeds me these jokes all the time. But, maybe it's just, a quiet moment after a long day. Or maybe it's this podcast. 50 episodes. I'm sitting here with you and I'm talking about stuff that matters. And that's gratitude, like even in the grind.
100% same thoughts, same feelings. Sometimes it's just like making it through the day without, losing your mind or losing your shit on someone. That counts. That
I hope
that
so.
is, But I think that's really kind of the shift. Gratitude isn't always, fireworks and amazing journal entries. It's being aware, and it's saying, hey, even in this mess, even as things are all weird, I can see a handful of things. I can see many things to be grateful for, or hell, at that point, I can see one thing to be grateful for.
I'll add this. I think gratitude can pull us out of that survival mode, because when we're anxious and we're overwhelmed and we're future focused and we're like, well, what if this happens? Or, what's coming next? But gratitude, it lives in the present, and it reminds us that right now, something is still okay.
That brings us to, that ability to consider the perspective, like the final piece of changing the nature of everything. And this one hits home today because I think that's what gratitude actually does. It changes the nature of how we see our moment, how we see our day, or in the grand scheme of things, how we see our lives.
Gratitude, it doesn't change your circumstances. It changes you inside your circumstances.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
It softens the edges, and it reminds you that even the really hard seasons, they are shaping something inside of you. They're shaping you. And my joke here is like, they're shaping you into something. I mean, we hope we like the shape.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point, it sort of resets, or I don't know, like recalibrates what success can kind of look like for you. We live in a culture that equates success with like more, whatever the more is, more money, more visibility, more attention, more achievement, more cars, more houses, more property, whatever it is. But when it gets boiled down, like gratitude gets to remind us that thank God that enough is actually enough. That simply being peaceful and at peace, that's wealth.
It's crazy how these podcasts turn into the thing that I need to hear. I mean, that's so poignant. It's something to really think about. Even though I think those words sound like, super poetic, it's not always poetic. Sometimes gratitude it just helps you keep going. Yeah, this is a heavy season, but I'm thankful that I still get to show up. Yeah. And that's how you change the nature of everything, not by escaping it, but by confirming it. And then by transforming how you see it and how you own it and how you act with intention, yeah, that changes the nature of everything.
Yeah, gratitude really can like shift all that pressure and that angst and worry into a completely different perspective. I do think that our perspective oftentimes, I don't know that it's the only factor by any means, but I think a lot of times our perspective and like like I mentioned before, wherever I read that, it said that if you're living in the past, you're probably, dragging some depression along. If you're constantly anxious because you're living in the future of the what ifs, like you're missing out on all of the good stuff in the present. And so I think gratitude gets to shift all of that back to the present to keep us from burning out and being overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think I want to say that there's a difference between like burning up and burning out, because sometimes things, like we've said, they do get really heavy and they kind of burn you up. You get kind of crispy. But, but like you're saying, gratitude, it is that perspective that keeps you from burning out. It can bring you back. Like, yes, all those things are real. And gratitude isn't the miracle salve, but it does keep you from burning out.
It's that perspective reset as you need it, for sure.
Yeah. And it's funny. We have always said that gratitude, like, it's practical. Like, it's not woo-woo. It's helpful. I mean, in 50 episodes, we kind of can look back and we realize like how far we've come. And we look at that with gratitude. And not just the podcast, but, Coin itself and writing the book and in every episode and all the conversations and all the awkward, intros trying to learn how to podcast or something.
Have we learned? I don't know that we've learned how
to. We're on our way. We're practicing. But all of that, man, it's been a coin. A little piece of wisdom kind of picked up each time along the way.
Sure. And you know what? Once again, that's the real pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, like we've said early. And
episode 3.
Had our epiphany with that, Not that we've, quote unquote, arrived in any way, but that we've been collecting these coins and collecting gratitude along the way. Even when we probably didn't recognize it, even when we haven't noticed it as some profound moment, these are the coins. You're right. This has been a coin in and of itself of getting to have this journey together, for sure.
So to everyone listening, whether you've been here since episode 1 or you just stumbled in today, thank you. Thank you for showing up, for being curious, for wanting to grow. We're really grateful for this community and for the chance to keep doing this kind of work alongside you.
For what it's worth, this episode is for you. I mean, and for us. Yes. Just a reminder that, even when things are hard, we can still practice gratitude, because like Bo said earlier, right, gratitude it turns survival into living your life.
Yeah, so look, let's end with a simple coin challenge. Confirm it. Be honest about where you are right now, even if it's hard. And you own it. You take responsibility for how you'll engage with whatever season of life it is. And you act with intention. Like, name 3 things that you're grateful for and name them out loud. And change the nature of everything. Watch while it happens. You'll start noticing the good stuff, and you'll start noticing it on purpose.
We mean it. Gratitude isn't a one-time thing. It is a practice, one that doesn't depend on your circumstances, but it will change how you move through them.
Yeah, look, so from us to you, thank you. Thanks for listening, thanks for supporting, and thanks for being part of the coin journey. And I say, here's to the next 50 episodes.
Here's definitely to the next 50. And here's to practicing gratitude, even when you got the tough days. Like today. Today's a tough day. And practicing gratitude is imperative, because that's where the real change is going to happen. It's where it's happening for me today. Even if it's gritty, even if my heart's broken.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out coinyourlife.com and find us on social media.